We walk into these house museums and we want them to sort of hold a certain moment in time, but it certainly lived through decades and is continuing to live through decades of changes and other lives being here.
The experience of going to someone's house, it doesn't necessarily need to be a great collector, but anybody's house who's decided that they care about one work of art is in many ways so much more powerful than going to a gallery. For artists and architects, seeing their work in a domestic context is very powerful in that sense because they know that it invites the audience to have that more intimate interaction with their work. I'm Priscilla Fraser, and I'm the director of the MAK Center for Art and Architecture. We are located here at the Kingsroad House, which was Schindler's personal home that he lived in and worked in up until his death. Rudolf Schindler moved to the United States in the hopes of working for Frank Lloyd Wright. He began working as the project architect and manager of the Hollyhock House. I think like a lot of young architects, after he completed that project, he said, okay, well now I need to come up with my own project, my own vision, my own house. And that house is the one that we're standing in right now, the Kingsroad House. By many people is held up as the first modernist home in the US. So the MAK Center came in as an extension of the MAK Museum in Vienna in 1995. The vision was to embrace the Schindler legacy of activating this house as a cultural institution. My vision when I started was really to not only embrace the history of this house, but also the mission that it continues to examine the line between art and architecture, and not only examine but challenge that line a bit.
I'm Mimi Zeiger. I'm an architecture critic and curator. Soft Schindler began because I had been hearing stories that were different than the stories I had heard about the Schindler House. Not stories about R.M. Schindler, but stories about Pauline Schindler, his estranged wife. And I began to imagine what would it mean to think about the Schindler House through the idea of softness. Softness is not just about a kind of decorative motif, but it's about materials that give to them a house that may have kind of a secondary history, an alternative history. So all of these things are sort of built into the concept of the show.
It's very difficult to freeze a house at one time and say this is the truest version of the house. Mimi proposing an exhibition which really looks at the entire history of the Schindler House, not just its original floor plans. And this house had many different iterations. One of the many things Mimi was saying was, let's talk about those different chapters. Let's highlight those different moments.
I think one of the really interesting pieces in the show is a pair of light boxes on the floor of what was originally Pauline's studio. What they are the latex castings of Merce Cunningham's dance studio at City Center. So we hear Merce Cunningham speaking through the audio in the light boxes. We see the kind of register of that other building. But here it brings up the history that Pauline had with John Cage, who was Merce Cunningham's partner and collaborator. But for a very short time in the 30s, he had an affair of the mind with Pauline Schindler. So we're softening the history of the house by suggesting, hey, like this house history extends all the way to Cunningham's works, to Cage, and really is exciting in sort of getting those echoes. This is a piece by Broughton. The piece is called 4 Mascot Prototypes for Los Angeles. And what we're looking at are these costumes that are also drawings. Questions of binary are really important to the show. Things are maybe non-binary that flow between costume and drawing, that flow between inside and outside, between the male and female. And here we have these 4 mascots that are drawn from Rainer Banham's 4 Ecologies. Pauline Schindler hosted a huge number of events, and so I wanted one of the rooms to feel like it was full of people. Design Bitches created a piece called Don't I Will, which runs in the Claire story of the house, and then came the day of installation to install them, and none of the pieces fit. The house just has a way of sort of moving and shaping itself, and so that was a real surprise to sort of see even this kind of dialogue between the artists and the house itself. I don't think the house is haunted, but I do think it has a bit of a liveliness. I was really excited to include the ceramic works by Alice Lang, the Better Half series. They are these slab-formed torsos from the waist down, often of men, and they have these glazes that seem to erupt from the inside, volcanic glazes. They've really changed how light and color work in the house. The works are about questioning masculinity, but the kind of color that they bring into the house really changes how that history of pink might operate.
Architecture, while being so forward-thinking in many ways, is really dragging in the more general design community with its very specific aesthetic associations between form and gender. We're dealing with gender in this exhibition in, I think, a much more evolved and fluid way, and not so much this very limiting, I think, association between geometry, texture, feel, and, male or female.
This project for me is sort of not saying that this house needs to be feminized. It's not about decoration. It's not about making it feminine, but it really is about this non-binary. And I'd like to maybe try to introduce that as a concept. The idea that things can be both and is a really exciting possibility for architecture. In doing the show, Pauline, this sort of amplifies her presence and draws on the kind of creative possibilities of what happens when you drop another figure into the room, and suddenly a whole nother body of work opens up. Priscilla and the MAK Center have been extremely welcoming in allowing this kind of experimentation to happen. This show is a bit experimental. It's crossing between art and architecture.
By activating these different, and protecting, frankly, these different historically significant homes in Los Angeles with contemporary ideas about design and architecture, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. And it takes a very brave curator to be willing to share co-curator status with a house. And Mimi is one of the few people sensitive enough, I think, to fully grasp that. I do think to recognize that sensitivity, especially from the curators, can only result in more positive cultural programming for Los Angeles.